So what are the most common pitfalls and mistakes that startup entrepreneurs make financially? You know, so many are wet behind the ears and wide-eyed and believing that they're going to make $1 million, six figures way sooner than later. What do you normally see in terms of mistakes that are made that prevent that from happening?
So I have two big ones that I see with almost every one of my clients. Number one, Dedee actually had mentioned it earlier, getting stuck in that DIY mentality. And I am guilty of this personally. You know, I love doing everything myself. And when funds are low, outsourcing might not be an option. But, you know, when it comes to your bookkeeping, it's one of those processes that it needs to be done almost as soon as you start the business. You know, as soon as money starts coming in and out, bookkeeping should be one of the first things to put together. But the learning curve is so high and it can be so time consuming that I find it ends up being one of the last things that a business owner tries to put together. And so, you know, when you wait till tax time or when you need those reports for loans and grants, you're going to have to go back to a bookkeeper, and it's going to be a much heftier fee later on because they're going to have to redo the bookkeeping for the whole year. So, you know, the procrastination from DIY is a big one. And in terms of more specifically financially, not opening up a separate business bank account. It is so important. It's something that I guess a business owner just gets comfortable because, you know, they want to receive the money as soon as they can. But it can make it really messy when it comes to paying business taxes. So, you know, if any entrepreneurs out there are listening, please get a separate business bank account. It helps so much in terms of bookkeeping, and especially when it comes around to tax time.
And just let me piggyback off that. When you get that separate business account, we should only use that account for business. It's so many of us have our separate business account, but we start going to McDonald's off it. We pay the cable bill off it. We pay our mortgage off the business account. When technically, if we are audited, we only supposed to use that business account for our business needs. So we have to be careful to ensure that we use those accounts properly in case of an audit.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I see a lot of business owners also put business expenses on their personal card, and then that makes their profit and loss reports incorrect because the expenses aren't being recorded there as well. So it really goes both ways.
That's correct. Definitely. And I think, too, that the biggest pitfall, I would say, and one of my mistakes was not actually planning and putting those pieces in place early, putting those systems, taking time to develop systems. I even had to go back to develop a system too on my policies and procedure of how do you properly answer the phone. It seems so easy, but when you're hiring people and you're bringing them in, my company is Harper and Associates Real Estate. It's not Harper Realty. You know, someone else may be named Harper Realty. So just having procedures in place and systems in place that anyone can do. And once you get fully in operation, it's hard to go back and start putting those systems in place because now you're full throttle. So now you should do that initially. Your bookkeeping should be in place. Your anything. When you come through my office, I tell you in my policies and procedure where the light switches are, where the AC thermostat is. Those things are very important for especially someone that's starting out new. They can just go to the policies and procedures for everything. So taking time to prepare those things that we don't think are important are very important in our business.
You're right. And even what you were saying earlier in the show about, or even you actually alluded to it, but those 3 stages of entrepreneurship, which can be a technician. So when you start a business, it's you.
It's just
you know, if you got that soul food business, you're the one whipping up the collard greens and the pinto beans and the ham hocks. Like that's you. You're cooking all of that. But when you stop doing it, your business stops as well. So when you evolve to that manager, that's when you hire staff, and that entrepreneur is the visionary that can keep scaling it. So
yes. And the thing, when we start a business, we have to do all of it. So we're the technician, we're cooking, we're the manager, we're doing the payroll, we're the entrepreneur, we're creating that vision for next year. That's too much. So early on, just think of putting the proper people in place. And it doesn't matter. You may go through several people, but having someone to take care of that for you. I remember sharing with you, Marcellus, I was so scared to hire my first assistant because it's a small fear because you feel as if I have this person's future in my hand. I'm responsible for their pay. I'm responsible for their insurance. I'm responsible for them. But what if something happened to me? I can't do this. How am I going to fulfill this? And I remember picking up one night, I was reading Destiny. And on that page, it was 2:00 in the morning. And I said, well, let me finish this book. And I went back, and on that next page, it started out, if you are a real estate broker, you may need to do this. So it was talking to me. But he also spoke about how afraid he was to hire. The worst thing he had, the fear, was to hire that first person to work for him. So I realized this was normal. So those fears and that anxiety is very normal for our business, but it's a needed system. And I didn't want to get off track. I know we're talking about bookkeeping, but I just wanted to share that. Just be sure that you put these things in place when you're starting your business.
That's true.
And it's part of planning.
So it sounds like there are a lot of entrepreneurs listening that have access to a QuickBooks guru by the name of Estefania Torres at Crown Consulting Finance. So, Estefania, you have to make sure that, at least share your info. I know we're going to tell them at the end of the show, but for those listening right now that may have to get out of their car real quick, how can they contact you?
Yes, please give me a call at 352-340-3049. And I should 100% just answer you back, and we can figure out exactly what kind of QuickBooks Online bookkeeping you need.
Okay, you want to repeat that number one more time?
Yes, 352-340-3049.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and wrapping up, are there any other bookkeeping gems that, Dedee, you would like to share to those aspiring realtors, or actually those that want to start up a business in the real estate industry?
Yes, as a realtor, for the most part, for my company, we don't touch money, so everything is, handed to the title company. But if you're going in business, I would say that you want to do this as soon as possible, because once your business starts, you will quickly find out some things you won't have time for. And if you want to get that loan or want to share your business plan with SBA, projection of your numbers, profit and loss are things that they would ask for. So be prepared. So this is a part of preparation and planning for your business.
And Estefania, I want to ask, in relation to profitability, when you're looking at the profit and loss sheet, what type of gross margin do you normally like to look at in terms of, okay, someone's starting up a business, they have, the revenue that they expect to make or that they have made in the first couple of months, and then they have the cost of goods, and that gives them that gross profit. What percentage do you like for that gross profit to be? They got this pie that make, this, entire revenue. How much of that should entrepreneurs try to keep on average with their profit?
Well, pretty much the harsh reality of starting a business is that profit can be very, very low, almost non-existent, especially, in the beginning months of starting a business, and even within the first year. And the growth really depends on the kind of industry the business is in, but I find it takes a business owner 1 to 2 years to really move past the break-even margin. And I don't mean to say this to be, pessimistic or any kind of way. If anyone out there is struggling right now, just breaking even, just know this is part of the process, figuring out exactly what kind of expenses you have. But, once you start getting into, 10%, 20% profit, and you're really starting to move forward, then you've been in business for a little bit, So just kind of keep moving forward, because profit can sometimes take a really long time to come around. And
that's net profit. So once that business covers all their expenses, the marketing, the overhead, 10 to 20% is a good number. And you know what? to your point, Estefania, I remember being in business school and looking at Amazon that for probably over a decade didn't make a profit. And even some of our bigger companies that are attractive now, such as Tesla, such as Netflix, such as Spotify, they actually, many of those don't make a profit. And so I've heard this statement that negative cash flow is sexy. It's the new sexy to have negative cash flow. And I remember hearing that like, what? No, I want money in the bank. That's what's sexy. But they're actually reinvesting sometimes that profit, and maybe it's not showing, but they're putting into research and development or other capital expenditures. And in the long haul, it'll turn out to be profitable. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely. When it comes to being a small business owner, you really have to become an expert at thinking in the long term. My own personal experience, you feel like you're working for months at a time for almost nothing, and it does feel very discouraging. But once you finally start seeing, people noticing your business, money starts coming in, it's the most satisfying feeling in the world because you know how long you worked to get to that point. And so, yes, it does take a little bit, but, that's why not everyone's a business owner. But, to entrepreneurs out there, we're a special kind of breed. We can go forward for as long as we can.
It's only for the leaders at heart.
Yeah.
Only for the leaders at heart.
Let's go, entrepreneur warriors.
Yes, and sometimes really you can actually, it's volatile. You may have made the money. You may come to a point because it may not seem like you're increasing, you're elevating, and it may be a stump right there that you're not making money in midstream. So it's volatile, and you have to understand and have to be able to handle those punches when they're out there and keep going and keep growing and knowing that it's going to get better. It cycles.
So we have the real estate angel and we have the QuickBooks guru angel. So how can the people listening get in contact with both of you all? Dedee Harper and Associates, and particularly you have a training class that is coming up too.
Yes. The next one started today. November 2nd is the next training class. And to reach me, 904-619-9488, 904-619-9488. So we offer real estate classes. If you're preparing to or you want to become an aspiring realtor and you want to get your license, there's a 63-hour real estate class that you must take the state exam after that. So you must pass your final and take your state exam. So we offer a license accredited. I get that question all the time. Are you licensed and accredited with the state? We are fully licensed and accredited to offer the 63-hour real estate class.
Awesome. And Estefania Torres, for those entrepreneurs that want a incredible bookkeeper, they prefer a Gator bookkeeper, but most importantly, they want a QuickBooks trainer or manager. How can they get in contact with you?
So I'm just going to repeat my number one more time, 352-340-3049. I do have a website. It's called crownconsultingfinance.com, and you can actually book with me online right through that website. If you want to email me, I might have to spell out my first name, so give me a few seconds. Estefania, Estefania at crownconsultingfinance.com.
Awesome.
Just wanted to also leave you with, if you're looking to join a real estate company, we are a full real estate company, Harper and Associates Real Estate, and you can find us at harperhomes.com.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Halo Effect Real Estate Show with the real estate angel, Dedee Harper.